Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Genealogical Association 6th birthday party. What I will be doing for this presentation is taking you through the amazing Virtual Record Treasury of Ireland website. No doubt many of you are likely aware of this website, but if not, it was launched back in 2022, just over 2 years ago. And its goal is to try and recreate as much as humanly possible the record treasury of Ireland, which was destroyed in June 1922 at the beginning of the Irish Civil War. What we'll do to begin is I'll just take you through some of the different ways that you can interact with this website. Now, you'll see here, I kind of along the top, you have the old themes, declaration collections, research strands, or you can just simply browse through what they have. Now, the gold themes are really for those with an interest in medieval or early modern Ireland. You have collections beginning in the 1200s. Then you have some stuff on the medieval exchequer. And then we have some of the Cromwellian surveys, 1600, and then the 1766 religious census. So the gold themes are situations where they've almost managed to completely reconstruct a group of records that had been believed lost in 1992. And this is mainly achieved by finding material that had been duplicated in other archives, such as in the National Archives in the UK. Treasury collections really just allow you to take a treasury collections are really an opportunity to look into, I suppose, specific groups of collections, that maybe there's a certain topic that you want to research, such as, legal records or something to do with Irish nobility, relationships between Home Office and Ireland, which is very, I think, very useful if you're looking into political situation in Ireland, trying to understand why were there so many rebellions. There's so much here that you can look through. Of course, research strands are, I guess, more about the more recent discoveries that they've made in recovered records. So you have a lot of stuff on the conservation process and how they actually managed to retrieve so many records, conquest, the state papers, Chief Secretary's office, which said it's very useful for understanding the political situation. There's just so much here. And it's, really, really worth just diving in, just taking a few hours, just really go through all of these. And then you can see, maybe like recent news. So, that the site is being continuously updated. It's not just a, I suppose, static creation. It's, there's always stuff coming up. Now, before I start showing off the search function, I think something which is really worth doing is dipping into the virtual model. So you can see here, virtual reality visit. So I've opened this already because it can take a few minutes to load. And there are a number of different ways that you can explore. So here you can see this virtual reality model from the area view, and these little icons here So if you click on them, they actually bring you up a bit of information on the building and the destruction. It's a great way to learn about the history. Now, you can also open up, here you'll see this little, here you click on that, and you get a nice little cross section. Up, or you can say, let me do the Treasury. This actually opens up building. Now, you are supposed to be able to click on most of these, and it'll bring up a bit of information on what was stored there. However, unfortunately, a lot of these seem to be missing at the moment. When I click on Discover Record, it just brings me up this window, which is quite frustrating. I don't know if that's a temporary issue or maybe it's something that they are planning to add in later on. Well, what we'll do now is we'll actually go in through the front door. So if you click on the little arrows, it actually brings you inside. And just imagine what it must have been like at the time to actually walk through these front doors. So here you can see a little plaque here. And this area here, this was the reading. This is where the public would have come. And you can actually see examples of some of the records which had been out in the reading room at the time of the fire. Now, I imagine that it must have been quite chilly at times. We can actually see one of the few Irish language documents which had been in the public record office at the time. I guess the problem is that because everything to do with the law at this time was conducted through English, and that meant that there were relatively few Irish language documents which survived to actually end up in public record office. It wasn't until Ireland became an independent state in the 1920s that we switched back to using Irish as the official language of government. So even to this day, any government documents produced, the Irish language version is considered the official version, even though the English language version is the one that's most supposed to be able to read. So it's quite cool to actually have that. And you can zoom in, you can actually see more of this document and the script, the old Irish script that it was written in. Then we go to house. Yeah. Archivists haven't changed at all, I think, in the past 100 years. They did not want people, writing on the actual documents themselves. Now, one of the interesting things about the records office and in terms of what survived the fire were some census records. That was because for many, the only way to prove that they are eligible for a pension was to consult the historic census. So they would write in to the public record office. They would say this, I think I was born in such a year. Can you check the nearest census to that to confirm whether I'm on it? So it is just really, really cool to be able to actually explore it. So you can then walk forward, and this would take you through to what was the fire break between the reading room and the Treasury. Because the assumption was that if the fire broke out, it would probably be in the reading room, and that this break would actually protect the valuable records within. Unfortunately, as it turns out, what happened was that the fire came from the other side in the actual record treasury itself, and it was only the reading room which was spared. Here, so you can actually, you can explore the various sections of reading room. We can, climb up steps or even take a look at what might have been on the shelves. Unfortunately, you can't actually click on the through this view, which is a shame. But you can, you can at least climb it and maybe look at some of the images that survive. So here you see the architectural plans. Diagram, which I'm sure was of great use to the archivists working there. Yeah, just spend days with this, just exploring. So we'll go back out into the main record treasury website itself, and we'll do some searching. Now, the one thing that I will warn people about is that the Treasury is not a genealogy database in the same way that Ancestry or Family Search or MyHeritage would be. That it is primarily an archival database. What you can do though is you can go in through the advanced search, and then you can decide, okay, well, am I looking for this just put in like a general term? Am I looking for the title? Maybe something that was actually in the main body of the text. Who created it? Which repository did it come from? So was it from the Bulk Office of Ireland? Was it from the National Archive of Ireland or National Archive, or from the many international repositories which contributed? Or maybe the actual reference code and can search directly there. Now, what I would always advise people to do is just to start with, try out, narrow down your dates slightly, perhaps. See, we go to maybe 1900s just to help. And I would say to start with, do your search by place name rather than family name. Because, for example, if I were to type in my own surname, Ryan, into this search box, I would know that get hundreds and hundreds of records back. It would just take way too long to go through them. So what I will do is I will search by Cream, the village where my own ancestors came from, and let me see what comes up. Oh, okay. This is really weird. There's so much interesting stuff here. Yeah, a lot of it tends to be more, I guess, like appendices and stuff like that. But what you can also do is, you see here they have linked items. So we will go to open this up, see what it tells us. So you can either, you can click on the view digital content, which will show you the actual scanned document, or you can click on view linked sources. And the link sources will show you sort of other related items which might be relevant to it. So if you're looking at something in a specific theme, this can be helpful. Now you have here you have the digital content. So you can go through that, you see quite a lot of pages. You could, if needs be, you can decide let me just close out there. What are the annotations? Any other useful stuff here? Index, so you can search for a specific item within it. thumbnails, you can actually see the actual pages. So there's so many things here. Workspace. Yeah, you could have hours upon hours. Let me see how there are some other records that we can search for. So these version records give you quite a lot of interesting insight into religious issues in the 1700s and other legal stuff. So this is what you say, I guess, have to be careful with, try to be as precise as possible with what you are searching for. Now, you return home back to the front page. Now, hopefully this at least gives you some idea of what the website has to offer. It's it's a surprisingly massive undertaking. I think the people involved deserve a huge amount of credit for all that they have actually. And I don't know, coming into this sort of website, approach it with an open mind. Don't expect it to work like Ancestry or any of the big genealogy websites, as it is primarily an archival resource. And the goal is to maybe find, some hidden treasures that you hadn't thought of, which give you a bit more historical context on what was going on with your ancestors. Now, maybe you'll be lucky, maybe you know that you have a surname that was connected to, say, the medieval Kingdom of Ireland or to somebody, one of the later plantations, etc. And these records may actually give you some, may actually show up a distant ancestor when you search for it. But by and large, for most of us, the opportunity is just to learn a bit more about Irish history. So, thank you very much for that. I hope you have a wonderful time and enjoy the rest of the presentation.